If you are a freelancer or agency owner that is looking to use Upwork to get more clients, then you are in the right place. I've used Upwork and other freelancing sites to earn multiple six figures for my business and land anywhere from startups to Fortune 500 companies. And today I'm going to break down my application template, my application strategy, and everything else I think you should know when considering if Upwork is right for you. Now let's go over what specifically I'm going to cover in this video. The first thing we're going to go over is why Upwork is such a great platform to get clients. I mean, seriously, I think it's one of the easiest places to get clients. Second are some downsides of Upwork. Although I am very bullish on Upwork, there are some downsides you should be aware of just to set your expectations right. Third is who I've seen perform best in terms of Upwork for agency, service, offering, niche, etc. 4, how to build an Upwork profile that stands out even if you're in a very competitive service or niche. 5, the template that I use that's won me hundreds, actually I think 200-300 meetings on Upwork. 6, which will be how I qualify and apply for jobs to make sure I'm only getting the best ones possible. And 7, my appointment setting process from taking someone from asking for more information to getting them onto a meeting. So this is going to be a summary of everything you need to know to either get started on Upwork or go from being stagnant on Upwork to getting consistent jobs and clients. Before we get deep into the video, if you're wondering who is this guy, well, I'm Michael, and for nearly a decade now, I have been building agencies. I currently operate Done For You Meetings, which is a 7-figure B2B lead generation agency that works with larger companies that have established sales teams, and I also operate Grow B2B. It's a B2B lead generation consulting program that works with freelancers, consultants, and small agencies, helping them set up client acquisition systems. In summary, I spend a lot of time on outreach and sales, and this gives me tons of fun data and time to experiment, which allows me to make YouTube videos like this to help everyone watching out. Now let's start with chapter 1 of 7, which is why is Upwork such a great place to get clients? Well, the number one reason for this is really clear, and that is intent. When you are doing outreach, you don't truly know, unless you're using intent signals like someone hiring or recently migrating from a software, if they're in the market for what you sell. There are certain things that are almost always in consideration. For example, if you have an offer that's like lead generation, but even then they may already have a vendor. But there's a lot of other things that, people maybe only think about once a year or even less than that, like website design or graphic design. So on Upwork, people are thinking about whatever they're posting right now. You don't need to convince them that they need what you're selling. You just need to convince them that you're the right person to buy it from. Also, another thing, we're getting a bit more technical here, but if you're in the sales process of a large company and they're not from Upwork, there's probably a lot of approvals they need to get to actually make the hire. Where if they're on Upwork, they probably already have pre-approval for this project they're posting about before actually making a post, and this means you're gonna have a much faster sales cycle. For larger ticket agency services, a lot of times sales cycles can be 2 to 3 months. On Upwork, I've seen those same length sales cycles finish in under a month. So there's a lot of benefits in addition to intent. I'm not gonna list all of them just for the sake of time, but a few of my personal favorites are gonna be, you can see reviews of companies before applying to work with them. This makes it easier to spot annoying clients and also just wastes that dreaded going back and forth with someone you hate talking to. Second is it's easy to have an idea of someone's budget before approaching them, saving wasted time when you talk to a prospect who can't afford your service. You can see how much money they've spent in a platform. You can also see how much they're intending on spending. Third, there's really not that much competition compared to other marketing channels, making it easy to stand out if you're competent and qualified. And fourth is Upwork is incredibly cost effective for getting clients, and honestly, anyone who's complaining probably hasn't done real marketing like ads or large scale cold email. I do hear from a lot of freelancers, well, Upwork costs money. Yeah, it's client acquisition. In B2B context, it's expensive. But in comparison to other things, Upwork is incredibly cost effective. Now, there are some downsides of using Upwork, and I want to be transparent about these. Some of these may matter to you a lot, and some may matter to you not at all. So I just want to go through my thoughts on this so we have a level playing field for you to make a decision around Upwork. Now, first off, when I mention Upwork to people, they normally have a negative initial reaction. A lot of people think Upwork is a platform where third world freelancers go to get paid $2 an hour. And I'm not gonna lie, that does exist there, but there is so much more than that. There are plenty of large companies looking to hire experts and pay them very fair, good rates. In fact, later in this video, I'm actually gonna show you how we've identified very large companies on Upwork and even managed to close some companies that do over $100 million a year. So you're gonna really like that part. Now, even if the positives and everything that's good, it's not gonna always be sunshine and rainbows. So let's go through some of the most critical downsides you should be aware of. First one is Upwork is significantly, and I emphasize significantly, easier if you are from a strong country. For example, if you're in the United States, Canada, or United Kingdom, and maybe some other countries, I don't know everyone, frankly, you have an opportunity to apply to jobs that are only looking to hire in their own country. For example, the United States job market on Upwork is huge, and only people with US passports that are verified can apply there. Now, these jobs are going to get much less applications and generally pay a lot more. And this is especially true for large companies that only want to hire in their own country for legal or liability reasons. If you're from one of these countries, it's not an issue. If you're not, you may struggle more. I can't say how well Upwork will work in your country because I don't have data on it, and frankly, I'm not going to bother to look it up. But I'm sure you can do some research online and figure it out. Now, I have seen people make Upwork work for pretty much every country. It's just the level of difficulty due to saturation. Second is Upwork has some strange policies around communicating outside Upwork. For example, if you send someone a Calendly to schedule in, where even when you follow rules, sometimes they'll think you're not following rules and your account can get banned or flagged, and they're not very sympathetic to this, especially on the freelancer side. So it's important to be very safe on Upwork and not compromise your account. So make sure you're following all of Upwork's rules. Now, the third thing here is if you only service a certain niche, for example, fashion brands or realtors or plumbing, then there's likely not enough search volume because people are normally searching on a specific service like Facebook ads or SEO or graphic design, not SEO for realtors. So there might not be an opportunity for you to get that specific in your applications. Now, these downsides considered, I think you'd be silly to not at least test Upwork. But it is important to note from a mindset perspective that if you're approaching Upwork with pessimism, thinking it's not going to work, then it's probably not going to work. So, but open up your mind, give Upwork a try, give it your full effort, try it for a month or two, and let the data decide. Chapter 3 is going to be on who I've seen Upwork work best for. Now, I want to be very clear that Upwork is not a magic pill to get clients. If you have no case studies, no skills, no personality, and are lazy, nothing is going to work for you. It's not, hey, just make an Upwork account and get paid. That doesn't exist anywhere. If it does exist, I would certainly be doing it, but it doesn't. Now, if you have skills or are proactive in learning them, you have a personality, you're hardworking, but you don't have case studies, you can still make Upwork work. However, it will be harder. This is the same as any other marketing channel when you have no social proof and are just starting out. Now, if you want to know how to get clients without having a social proof or case studies, I have a whole video for that on my channel, which you can go ahead and check out. It's going to be pretty easy to find, or maybe even in the description. So moving on here. Unsurprisingly, the more social proof and experience you have, the better Upwork is going to perform, like literally any other marketing channel. But there are going to be some catches to this. If you have awesome social proof and skills, but you're at the very, very, very top of pricing, think $8,000 a month for ad management, $25,000 for a website, or $3,000 for a logo, you might be too expensive for Upwork, even though there's big companies on there. Now, I have sold multiple one-off large projects and retainers even up to $8,000 a month on Upwork, but the core of the business I received on Upwork has been projects ranging from $2,000 to $5,000 and retainers from $3,000 to $5,000. I've also received very similar feedback from friends that sell different services. So can you get big clients? Yes. Can you charge a lot? Yes. But if you're at the very, very, very top of pricing, maybe not. But most people watch my videos, you're probably not at the very top of pricing. Again, we're talking very, very, very top, which you probably would not be on Upwork. You'd probably be in a big agency working with Fortune 500 companies. But moving on, another thing is if you are very specific on your niche and qualifications who you want to work with, you may struggle on Upwork because you can't see the business information before you apply. You can't see what company type they have or the employee count necessarily. This means that if you offer a service, but you're agnostic to a niche, meaning you don't care what niche it is, and you're generally open within reason to the company size, you're gonna have a lot more jobs available and you can apply to a lot more and naturally get more calls and clients. Now, another thing that is worth noting, but I have rarely seen this, but there are services that will not work on Upwork. A simple way to figure this out is just to search for that service and think of searching, for example, a key phrase around it, like for example, cold email services, cold email, and a software, for example, instantly, and just look at how many jobs are available to decide, hey, is there enough service on Upwork that even makes sense to start? Because if there's 5 a month, it's probably not worth it. Now, at the end of the day, the people who do best are the ones that are willing to spend money, which are connects, which is like Upwork's in-app currency, we could say, to apply to jobs and do it consistently. I've seen people go from no money earned to 10,000 earned in a couple months. Now, one important mindset thing here is hypothetically, let's say it takes 500 jobs to get your first client. It doesn't matter if you apply to those 500 in a week, in a month, or in a year. It's the same result. So you need to do volume and you need to do it consistently. Chapter 4, how to build an Upwork profile that stands out. Now we're getting to more tactical and fun stuff here, so I'm looking forward. And if you made it this far, I think you're gonna really like the application message that I use. So starting out here, building an Upwork profile is way easier than you probably think. And this is because Upwork is very transparent and there's no secrets between freelancers. If you wanna know the #1 competitor for your service, you can just open a hiring account, or I think you can even do this without logging in, search for the keyword related to your service, and then just look at people that have earned a lot of money on the platform. Now, what I recommend doing here is you look at the top 5 to 10 people related to your service of high earnings. This is generally over $100,000. Take inspiration from these profiles and look at the commonalities. What are they all doing? The goal isn't to rip them off, but to use them as inspiration, notice similarities, and adapt those to your own unique personality, style, skills, services, and case studies. In addition, when you're making your profile, make sure to fill it out entirely. Fill out everything. This includes your profile video, your work history, your learning languages, your availability, your portfolio, your skills, certifications, awards, client testimonials, everything. The more full it is, the more Upwork will push your profile. And make sure your portfolio items are nice and the result of the work you did is very clear. I like to make portfolio items in Canva. It makes it very easy to put them in and for a prospect to look and in 1 second see the result I did for a client. Because you can't assume that somebody looking will necessarily know what your screenshot of, let's say, an ads manager would mean the same way you do. Another thing that I've done for SEO is fill my profile with keywords that are related to things people search. This helps my profile rank for more searches, get more clicks, and then get more people inviting me to apply for their jobs. Now, the last note here is that earnings matter a lot on Upwork. So ideally, you have existing clients hire you on Upwork to get your first $1,000. That tends to be the threshold where Upwork gets a little bit easier, and then again, a bit more easier at 10,000. But if you can't do that, you can skip this step. Just realize getting your first job will be 5 to 10 times harder than your second. And this does make sense. If you're gonna be hiring on Upwork, are you gonna look for people with no earnings, no reviews, no testimonials, no case studies? No, you're looking for a person with lots of social proof. So just understand, if you can skip this step by having a client hire you on a platform, great. If you can't, you need to make the most of it and just realize that first job or two is going to be a real grind. Chapter 5, and this is the proposal template that has won me hundreds of meetings. This is probably the point in this video a lot of you have been waiting for, and I'm really excited to not just go through this proposal template, but to also give some real examples that will help you adapt this to your own campaigns. Now, to start off here, one common misconception. Most people that I speak to about Upwork think there's some magical proposal template that's gonna get them unlimited leads, unlimited meetings, and unlimited sales. This is not true. However, there are certainly some tips and tricks that I have found to help me, and I'm gonna share them with you. I will likely make a more advanced video in the future that goes into strategy, considering I have multiple application messages depending on different types of jobs I apply to, but I'm gonna focus this video around one core application template that's very basic, works very well, and is easy to apply. So we're gonna break this application template into 4 different parts. The first part is gonna be acknowledgement of their job, showing we understand it and we actually read the description, and then personalization around that. Second is going to be background of us tying to their job, so we're trying to explain how we are a good fit. The third is a value-oriented CTA tied to their job, and the fourth is a signature, where in the PS section we're using social proof. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make up an example. And for this example, let's pretend that I do freelance commercials for brands, just choosing something random here. So let's look at a made up job post example. Title, looking for videographer for supplement brand. Description, I own a small supplement brand and I am looking for someone who can help me make a commercial for Facebook ads. I would like 3 to 4 variations of a commercial that are optimized around getting people to sign up for a free trial of our product. You would need to provide your own actors and equipment. I would ship you the product and you would be in charge of recording, editing, and everything post-production. This is something I would like to start this week and finish in 5 weeks. And this is a pretty accurate, made-up example of what an Upwork job post looks like. They normally don't have way too much information, just the essentials so you can go ahead and apply. Now, let's apply using the framework we discussed. First thing here is acknowledgement of the job and personalization around the job. We could say, hi, I came across your job posting looking for someone to turn around 3 to 4 versions of commercial for your supplement brand. Personalized. Second, background tying to a job. I've been doing videography, specifically around optimized for ad creatives for 5 years now. Last year, I actually got to work with a supplement brand called Plugin Supplement Brand. Maybe you've heard of them. Now, I know all of you want case studies, but I'm doing the best example here, then you can be creative. Now, part 3, value-oriented CTA tied to their job. They shared the results they got using my creatives on their Facebook ads, so I already have some ideas as to what works. Happy to share if you want to schedule an intro call, would also be great to hear more about what you had in mind. Signature, with a PS for social proof. Thanks, your first name, last name, certifications, I like to add these in, and then a PS. You can view a few of my portfolio commercials on my Upwork profile, here's a link. And I don't recommend linking outside of Upwork, I recommend sending people to your portfolio on Upwork because Upwork wants you to stay there. And we can see how relevant this is compared to some AI garble or to some copy and paste template. This is a lot of effort and it's very relevant to the poster, so it's going to get more attention than other people applying. And that's it. That's how I do applications. It's manual and it's personalized. And again, it looks so much better than the AI copy and garble people paste in Upwork. And I want to clarify here. I'm not saying that AI can't work, but I'm saying you need to be good enough to know what you're doing, and most people don't, and they look like a moron. How do I know this? I hire on Upwork, and I get a bunch of crap AI applications. So if you are using AI, just make sure that you're competent enough to know what you're doing, and if you're not, hire someone or just personalize them like I do. Chapter 6, how I qualify and apply for jobs. Now, I am going to answer this question in the context of someone who is in the USA. This means I have access to the US job market as well as the international job market on Upwork. If you're not in the United States, you may have a job market that's specific to your country, and if so, it'll appear kind of like this image I'll put on the screen now. If you do not have access to this job market, most of this chapter will still apply to you, so no worries. Now, within Upwork, they categorize jobs into 3 different categories. We have entry level, intermediate, and expert, which are pretty self-explanatory, and that generally correlates with how much someone's expecting to pay. When I'm applying in the US job market, I apply to intermediate and expert jobs. When I am applying in the international job market, I apply to expert jobs only. It is very important to note that I am not you. I may be way more advanced than you, or I may be a beginner compared to you. When I first started on Upwork, I would apply to all categories in the US market and intermediate and expert on the international market. The reason I don't do this now is I have so many sales calls on my calendar that I can't take more on until I have a sales rep. Also for my marketing agency, I only really work with very large companies, and this helps me find better companies. Now, I do sometimes apply to smaller jobs, provide them coaching consulting for my program, Grow B2B. By the way, shameless plug, link in description, check it out. But on Upwork, that is my strategy. It doesn't mean you should do the exact same. It means that you should test and figure out what works for you, but that's what works for me. Now, on Upwork, a few more things when applying for jobs. You can see a company's rating ranging from 1 to 5 stars. I will apply to jobs that have no previous ratings. They're probably just new to the platform, but I will not apply to any jobs that have ratings and are under 4 stars. 4 stars may seem like, oh, it's not that bad, but on Upwork, if somebody is a client of yours and they're saying you're under 4 stars on average and they're dislike you so much you're willing to leave a bad review, then they're probably toxic and someone to stay away from. Also on Upwork, a job may have a fixed price or an hourly rate. Most of the time, people don't know how much to pay, so they just guess. Because of this, I don't worry way too much about the budget they list. This is something that throws a lot of people off. For example, let's say I wanted to randomly hire someone to edit photos. I have no idea what to pay, and I'll probably just guess or even use Upwork's suggestion. So don't worry way too much about that. We will do some filtering around it, but don't let it throw you off. And also my filtering will be different to yours, so make sure to test on your own. Now for me, I filter for projects over a fixed price of $500 or hourly rates over $50. Also, when you're applying to them, as a general rule, the lower your hourly rate is, the more people will want to talk to you. It is also important to note that I rarely ever work at an hourly rate unless I'm doing hourly consulting, and for this I bill at $500 an hour. This doesn't mean I don't apply to hourly jobs, as most people don't actually want hourly. They just want to know how much it costs when they don't know what it costs, and they want the result that they had in mind. And I personally take a very high hourly approach to applying to jobs, but again, this is because I don't want many meetings, my calendar is already full. And this gives me the best meetings, but a few years ago, I would be applying to a lower rate because I wanted more meetings and I charged less. And I'm sure I am missing out on some good meetings because of my hourly rate, but ultimately I'm okay with that. And my application rate right now is fluctuating between $200 to $300. I'm still testing out that range. One thing that is important to know on UpWork is you need to search for multiple phrases for a job, because you will miss out on jobs otherwise. The actual search engine function of UpWork, I don't find it to be that good. So a lot of times if you're not searching a lot of variations of what you want to do for work, you'll miss out on jobs. Let's say you offer Facebook ads. I would search FB ads, Facebook advertising, Facebook media buying, Facebook ad buying, Facebook paid media, meta ads, meta advertising, etc., etc., etc. I have over 150 keywords that my team searches, or somewhere around that. It's a ton that they search. So make sure that you are doing a lot of keywords related to your work. Now, I also search for softwares related to the service I offer, because someone may not use the phrase, for example, media buying, but maybe they use the term triple whale or Hyros because they assume that you would know that's media buying if you're searching for these softwares. And then I apply to every relevant job. For me, this is between 400 to 1,000 a month. You need to apply with volume. I recommend a bare minimum of 300 jobs a month, but once you get validation, I would just slowly max out every possible job. Now, for some people, this will be 200. For some, it will be 5,000. For others, it might be 10,000. It depends how big your market is and how broad your service offering is. So just make sure to test out different search terms, figure out your KPIs, and then plan your budget to apply for as many jobs around that. Chapter 7, our final chapter here, and this is going to be appointment setting. Now, the good news is appointment setting on UpWork is easier than appointment setting from any outbound channels or even a lot of organic marketing channels. It is straightforward because of intent. Again, you do not need to convince people that they need your service, you need to convince them you're the right person. You should also expect people to be quite direct, asking for deliverables, pricing, or how you work. And it does make sense. They're talking to 20 people sometimes and trying to narrow down who they want to do interviews with. So rather than deflect the answers to these questions until getting on a call, a lot of people do this in cold email, even though I don't recommend it, I do my best here on UpWork to answer them politely and directly with more information and then suggest a call. Not saying let's talk on a call. And beyond that, mostly everything else is the same as normal appointment setting. Answer questions fully of relevant examples and case studies, follow up persistently, both professionalism, and manage a CRM with all active leads so you can keep following with them and not forget. I also like to do an omni-channel touch point when possible, for example, adding them on Twitter or LinkedIn depending on their business, and I will go through and re-engage old conversations that died off, same way I do with a normal appointment setting. And also, pre-meeting message, no-show message, cancellation message, and pretty much everything else you would normally have in your sales process. And another good news of UpWork, it typically only takes like 2 to 3 days for someone to respond to them on a call, where cold email is a bit closer to a week. And if you do want to go more in depth on how I do this, I already have a pretty lengthy video going through my whole outbound process and my whole appointment setting structure. So there'll be a link to that video in the description, and I'll put up on the screen right here. You have one thing left to do, which is implement. I've gone over my application strategy, my proposal, and everything else. You just need to go and do it now. And one of the great things about UpWork is it's very fast. You can set up your profile and legitimately get a client next week. So really, set up your profile, apply to jobs this week, and get results next. That's one of the beautiful things about UpWork. Now, if you want to go more in depth on UpWork and other outreach channels, make sure to check out Grow B2B. We'll work together to refine your offer, build an outreach strategy, build your outreach messaging, optimize your sales machine so you can get meetings without spending all your time on acquisition and have dozens of qualified calls every single month, the same way I've done for hundreds of other agency owners and freelancers. If you want to have a one-on-one conversation, no pressure, just to get to know each other and see if we're a good fit, there is a link in the description. Thank you for watching the video. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.